You know that feeling, right? That's kind of weird mix of excitement and total dread in your stomach. Your palms are a bit sweaty. Your mind's racing with all the what ifs as you're walking into, I don't know, a coffee shop, maybe a bar for a first date. And that little voice in your head is just screaming, don't mess this up. Be charming. Say something witty. Oh, wait, don't talk too much, but don't be quiet either. We've all been there, haven't we? Caught in that huge pressure cooker, needing this date, this one, to work out, to mean something. But here's the thing, the real irony. What if that pressure, that need to perform and impress, is actually the very thing that kills any chance of real connection? What if the key to a great first date isn't like acing an audition, but just finding things out? Discovering. By the end of this deep dive, you'll get why switching your first date brain from performance mode to discovery mode can seriously change your dating life and, honestly, open up real connection. You're listening to Stereo Butterflies. We talk about love, lust, and loneliness like no one's listening. This episode was crafted with the help of AI technology to ensure high-quality insights.
That's exactly it. And our mission today really is to gently kind of peel back those layers of first date anxiety, to move past those, those superficial lists of tips and tricks that often just make you more anxious. We're here to really unpack the complexity of that first meeting. We want to pull out some deep, actionable insights, not just to help you, get through first dates with a bit more comfort and confidence, but to totally transform them, turn them from something you might dread into something that's actually valuable, maybe even fun. It's about understanding the subtleties, the unspoken stuff, and finding a way to connect that feels, well, authentic, real.
Okay, let's dive into that because that nervous feeling, it's not just common, it can be totally paralyzing. I mean, who hasn't sat across from someone new feeling that awful awkward silence where you're thinking, am I talking too much or maybe not enough? Or your brain just goes completely blank.
Yeah.
You're scrambling for the next smart thing to say. It's just expected now almost, isn't it? That internal chaos.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so important we acknowledge how deep that feeling goes because those nerves, they come from a very real place. I mean, think about the stakes. They feel incredibly high, right? You're meeting a total stranger, usually with very little to go on besides a few pictures or short bio. And you're trying to do like 5 things at once. Gauge chemistry, read their signals, hope they feel something too. And all that intense mental work is squeezed into this really short, emotionally loaded time frame. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. And then you layer on top of that pressure cooker something else that's so widespread now. Dating fatigue. Burnout. Especially if you spent any real time on dating apps. That endless cycle of swipe, match, chat, meet, no spark, repeat. It just grinds you down. It creates this weariness, a sort of tired hope mixed with a bit of cynicism. And that definitely ramps up the pressure for every single new date.
Okay, so if that's the problem, this huge weight of expectation, the burnout from the whole digital then disappointment cycle, what's the big shift? Like the fundamental change we need to, how do we even start to reframe it all, to break out of that loop?
The core truth, and this is the antidote really, is surprisingly simple, but it's incredibly freeing. Not every first date has to lead to a second one, and that is absolutely okay. In fact, sometimes it's a sign you're learning what you don't want. See, when you go into a date thinking this has to work, you automatically start performing. You become scripted. You filter yourself based on what you think they want to see, and you end up acting, well, not like yourself. The irony is, trying so hard to force that connection to be perfect is often the very thing that stops a real organic connection from happening. Your actual self, the quirky, interesting, maybe slightly messy parts, gets buried under this facade. So the alternative, the thing we really encourage, is a mindset shift towards authenticity over performance. The goal isn't to win a second date like it's a prize or secure a relationship right then and there. That's not connection, that's a transaction. It's about sparking genuine mutual curiosity. It's about actually enjoying the moment, being present, and making the other person feel truly seen, not just assessed. When you consciously decide to drop the mental checklist, things I need to do, ways I need to impress, and instead just focus on being genuinely interested, something amazing happens. You relax, and usually they relax too. You create the space for something real to actually emerge naturally if it's meant to.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. So instead of it being like a job interview where you're desperately trying to give all the right answers, it's more like a low-pressure chance to connect. More like, hey, let's just see what we can find out about each other and maybe, have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Just saying that out loud feels like it takes a huge weight off, doesn't it? It shifts the whole vibe from this stressful duty to just an interesting possibility.
It's completely transformative. It really does shift the whole thing from like a pass-fail test to an open-ended exploration, maybe even a joyful one. When you lean into that genuine curiosity, your body responds, your posture opens up, your questions become more inviting, less like an interrogation. And you listen differently. You're not trying to steer things or tick boxes. You're just riding the wave of discovery, letting the conversation go where it wants to. And that allows for a much more natural and honestly often more successful connection to form.
Right. Okay. So we've got this powerful new mindset locked in. Let's get practical. Because even with the best attitude, the actual logistics of a first date can still feel tricky. Like, how do you even pick a place that actually helps the conversation, that encourages connection instead of accidentally blocking it?
Yeah, this is a classic stumbling block. It's surprising how often people pick places that sound good. Maybe they're trendy or fancy, but they're actually terrible for connection. Think about it. A bar that's so loud you have to shout. Or a super formal restaurant where you feel like you have to whisper. Even a museum, right? Interesting, sure, but maybe not ideal for a first date if you can't easily talk and interact. None of those places really create the ease, the comfort, that subtle intimacy you need for something new to spark. They put up walls, not build bridges. So the answer is think low pressure, think cozy, think about environments that actively support conversation, not kill it. A coffee shop is often great. Relaxed, casual, comfortable seats, just a nice background hum, a casual lunch spot. Same kind of easygoing vibe. And honestly, something as simple as a walk in a park can be amazing. Natural movement, things to comment on, pauses feel less awkward. We also really recommend venues that offer some kind of light interaction, like mini golf or maybe wandering through a food market. These places give you built-in things to talk about, a shared, low-stakes activity. It naturally diffuses that initial awkwardness. You're doing something together, not just sitting under a spotlight trying to force chat. It takes the pressure off the words.
That's such a good point. Having that little activity buffer sounds really helpful. Okay, moving from the perfect place to the perfect outfit. Or maybe not perfect. The classic dilemma, what do you wear? Is it all about impressing with brands or looking super fashionable? Or is something else going on there?
It's definitely not about the labels or trying to be someone you're not. The absolute main goal with your clothes on a first date is to feel completely at ease in your own skin. That means clean, comfortable, and definitely appropriate for wherever you're going. But crucially, it should reflect your personality, your real self. It should make you feel like the best, most confident version of you, not like you're wearing a costume. And this is key because how comfortable you feel physically and emotionally, it directly impacts your body language. And body language speaks volumes. There's loads of research on this. When you feel genuinely comfortable in your clothes, you're way more likely to smile naturally, make easy eye contact, and just project this air of confidence and openness and those things. Smiling, eye contact, confidence, like three of the top subconscious signals that create attraction. But if you're constantly fiddling with something, feeling self-conscious because it's too tight or too flashy, that discomfort shows. You seem less open, less inviting. So yeah, prioritize comfort and being yourself. That genuine confidence will shine through way more than any fancy label.
Wow, okay. Feeling good in your clothes helps you look good and act more confident. Makes sense. Now, the big modern question. With all our digital lives out there, pre-date research, do you look them up online before you meet or not? It feels like such a tricky line to walk.
It really is tricky, isn't it? And let's be real, most people probably do some kind of quick look, even if they don't admit it. The key is knowing where that line is. What's helpful context versus, well, creepy overreach. A quick glance at public photos, maybe seeing if you have friends or interests in common, that can be helpful, gives you maybe a conversation starter or two. It's light. But then there's the deep dive, right? Spending ages scrolling back, years on their feed, finding obscure details, and then maybe even bringing up something on the date that they haven't told you themselves. That feels invasive, almost like spying. It really shifts the energy. So here's a good rule of thumb, I think. If you wouldn't feel comfortable saying, oh yeah, I saw that on your profile out loud during the date without it sounding weird or presumptuous, then maybe don't bring it up or base your assumptions on it. It really comes down to respecting their space, letting them share themselves with you naturally in their own time. You want context, sure, but you don't want to make them feel like they've been investigated before you even said hello. Helpful, not creepy. That's the goal.
That's a great test. Helpful, not creepy. Okay, so mindset's good, prep's done. Now, the main event. Conversation chemistry. We all see those articles, right? Top 10 questions for amazing first date chemistry. But you're saying maybe not.
Yeah, I really challenge that idea. Look, those lists might give you a safety net if you're totally panicked, but actually reciting questions like you're reading from a script, it just makes the whole thing feel like a job interview. Or worse, like you're grilling them. It
Right.
instantly feels one-sided, kind of robotic, like neither person is really listening because they're just thinking about the next question or answer. It screams inauthentic. It says you're not really present. What works so much better is curiosity-driven conversation. The aim isn't just to collect facts like you're filling out a form, it's to invite stories, to understand their values, to find out what they're genuinely passionate about. So instead of, standard, what do you do, which can feel a bit boring and transactional, try something like, what's something you get really excited about outside of work? Or what really lights you up when you're not, doing the day job? See how that immediately opens things up. It's about passions, hobbies, what makes them tick. Or instead of just, do you like travel? Which is usually just a yes or no. Ask, tell me about a place you've been that really changed how you see things and why. These kinds of questions. They ask for a little piece of them, a story, what really matters. That's where real connection starts.
That feels so much deeper, more interesting than just ticking boxes. It gets past the surface stuff. But okay, as we go deeper, there's that balance with vulnerability, right? We want to be open, but maybe not too open too soon. So what are those topics to maybe steer clear of, at least on date number one? The conversational landmines.
Yes, exactly. Vulnerability is good, it builds intimacy, but there's a big difference between being real and being raw too early. A first date is about building comfort and interest, not offloading everything. There are definitely topics that can just suck the air out of the room or signal you're maybe not quite ready for dating, like launching into chapter and verse about your ex or a really recent painful breakup. That's usually a big red flag. It suggests you're not over it or you're comparing, and it puts your date in an awkward spot. Same with really heavy politics or religion, unless you somehow know you're already on the exact same page. It can turn into a debate really fast. Other things to maybe sidestep initially. Detailed money talk, salary, debt, that kind of thing. Feels transactional, makes people wonder about your motives. And while, yes, health issues or intense family drama are part of life, they're generally just too heavy for a first meet. Remember, the goal is to set a positive, engaging tone. Build a bridge. You're not signing up for couples therapy on the first date. Instead, aim for what you might call light emotional depth. Favorite memories, maybe general life philosophies, exciting dreams or goals, things that show personality without being overwhelming.
Right. Keep it interesting, keep it real, but don't make it overwhelming. Got it. Speaking of vibes, when a date is going really well, there's often this kind of flow, right? Like a rhythm. Conversation feels easy. How do you know if you're actually syncing up like that? What are the signs, the green lights, that connection is actually happening?
You described it perfectly. There's a kind of musicality to it, an energy that feels natural and good. The green lights are often subtle, maybe even unconscious, but you can spot them if you pay attention. Look for genuine laughter, the kind that just bubbles up. Shared laughter is huge. Sustained eye contact, not staring, but comfortable, held gazes, shows engagement. Maybe some playful teasing or a light touch if it feels appropriate and, crucially, welcomed and reciprocated. That's key. And really watch for mutual sharing. Is it a two-way street? Or is one person doing all the talking or all the asking? It needs to feel balanced. And body language tells you so much too. Are they leaning in a bit? Nodding along when you speak? Maybe even subtly mirroring your posture. That's often an unconscious sign of rapport, of feeling comfortable. These are all good signs. But, and this is just as important, if the vibe just feels flat, if the laughter feels forced, eye contact is minimal, conversation is like pulling teeth, don't force it, just keep it respectful, keep it easygoing. Remember, you're not there to win them over. You're there to feel it out. See if there's a match. And it's totally, completely okay if there isn't. That's just information, valuable information.
You're not here to win. You're here to feel. I really like that. Takes us right back to that discovery idea. But let's talk about something else that causes a lot of anxiety, especially now, with consent being so rightly important. Flirting. How do you show interest, that playful energy, without crossing lines, without being, what people worry about, creepy? It feels like a tricky dance.
Oh, it's definitely one of the biggest worries, and it's a valid one. We need to be mindful. But the key to good, respectful flirting isn't about having killer lines or making big, showy moves. That often feels fake anyway. It's really about cultivating and showing playful energy. Flirting really is an invitation. It's an invitation to connect on a lighter, maybe slightly more charged level. It's never a demand. It could be simple, a genuine compliment about something specific, maybe their laugh or their energy or something insightful they said. But the absolute foundation, the non-negotiable part, is mirroring and checking for comfort. Reciprocity. Are they playing back? Do they seem comfortable? Are their eyes smiling back, or are they kind of pulling away? And if you are ever in doubt, the most attractive, confident thing you can do is just ask. Seriously. Something like, is this okay? Or maybe, hey, I don't want to overstep, but I'm really enjoying this connection. That shows massive respect. And honestly, respect is incredibly attractive. Consent isn't just important, it's genuinely sexy. It shows you care. It builds trust.
That's such a powerful way to put it. Respect is attractive. Consent is sexy. Changes the whole dynamic. Okay, so even with all this great advice, nerves are still real. We all get them. Even confident people get the jitters before our first date. How do we deal with those nerves so they don't totally take over the whole experience?
You're right. Nerves are totally normal. Honestly, they probably mean you actually care, which is good. The goal isn't to eliminate them. That's probably impossible, but to manage them so they don't overwhelm you. Little pre-date rituals can make a huge difference. Seriously, maybe go for a quick 10-minute walk beforehand. Just move your body, release some of that energy, or put on some music that makes you feel really good, really powerful, whatever your hype music is. Even just taking 5 slow, deep breaths can calm your nervous system right down. Slow your heart rate. Some people even find journaling helpful. Just scribble down what's the best that could happen, or what am I curious about? There's science behind this, you know. These things actually lower your cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone, the hormone that makes you feel tense and anxious. So doing these things consciously before you go, you're literally setting up your brain and body for connection, not for fight or flight. It lets you walk in feeling clearer, calmer, more present. You're prepping your inside as much as your outside.
That makes so much sense. Prepping your internal state. Love that. But what if you're actually on the date? Things are going okay, and then, bam, you hit a wall. You get tongue-tied, or that wave of anxiety just crashes over you. How do you get back to feeling present instead of just stuck in your head?
Presence is so magnetic. When you're truly with someone, listening, engaged, not lost in thought, they feel it deeply. The trick is our brains love to jump ahead, right? Do they like me? What if I say the wrong thing? Future tripping. So, to pull yourself back, ground yourself in your senses right now. Like, really notice the smell of the coffee, or the texture of the chair you're sitting on, or the specific sound of your date's voice. These little sensory details anchor you in the present moment, pull you out of your head. And look, if you do get tongue-tied or hit in awkward silence, the best thing, the most human thing, just acknowledge it lightly, with a bit of humor. A little vulnerability is okay. Say something like, whoops, my brain just stalled for a second there. Give me a moment, with a smile. Most people appreciate that honesty. It shows you're real, and it reminds them they're not alone in navigating this slightly weird situation. And if you're really stuck, pivot to your surroundings. What do you think of this place? Or have you tried the whatever? Use the environment as a gentle restart. It's a lifeline.
That's really kind advice, actually, for yourself and for them. Way better than just panicking inside. Okay, let's shift to the real practical stuff. The nuts and bolts that always cause stress. Like, how long should a first date even last? Who pays? All those unspoken rules.
Ah, yes, the greatest hits of dating anxieties. Okay, duration. Most experts kind of agree the sweet spot is usually 90 minutes to about 2 hours. That's generally long enough to get past the small talk, have some real conversation, see if there's a vibe. But it's also short enough that you don't usually get fatigued, and ideally it leaves you both wanting a little more, maybe. Creates anticipation. A good tip is to pick something with a natural end time, or even mention a soft deadline up front, like, I have to meet a friend at 8, but free for coffee at 6, sets expectations. If it's amazing, you can always extend it. Then the big one, who pays? Look, this is changing fast. While the person who initiated might still offer, splitting is becoming really common and often preferred. Best approach. Genuinely offer to pay or split, then be gracious whether they insist on covering it or you agree to split. Payment apps make splitting easy now too. The main thing is just clarity and kindness in that moment, not rigid rules. Oh, and driving. Offer a ride if it feels safe and makes sense, but definitely don't push it. Not usually expected. And always have a backup plan. Mentally, at least. Sometimes things go sideways, places closed, massive downpour, date super late. Being flexible and handling it smoothly shows great character. Huge plus. And flip side, if the vibe is just clearly not there, you really don't have to force it or drag it out. It's okay to politely wrap it up. Thank them for their time, wish them well, and move on. Remember, a med date isn't failure, it's just data. Tells you more about what you do want.
Simply data. I like that framing. Takes the sting out of it. Okay, so beyond the practical tips, what's actually happening inside us? Psychologically, scientifically, when a date does click. What's behind that real connection?
Oh, it's fascinating stuff. When you have those moments, shared laughter, maybe you unconsciously start mirroring each other's posture, that feeling of mutual curiosity. Your brains are literally starting to sync up. It involves something called mirror neurons. Think of them as your brain's empathy cells. They fire when you do something and when you see someone else do the same thing. So when your date gives a genuine smile, your mirror neurons fire as if you were smiling. It creates this instant subconscious feeling of shared experience, of rapport. That's why real shared laughter feels so good and connects you. It's biological, chemical, neurological. And here's something else interesting. Trying too hard to be perfect. It often backfires. Psychologists find people connect more deeply over shared flaws, relatable little quirks, vulnerabilities, than over some polished, flawless image. When you're super anxious about saying the right thing, you can seem guarded, maybe even stiff. So instead of aiming for perfection, aim for presence, engagement. Allow yourself to be a little awkward, a little real. That's where the magic often happens. It shows you're human, and it gives them permission to be human too. Create space for actual intimacy.
That's huge. Be a little awkward, be real. Okay, so connecting this to the bigger picture, how have things like gender roles and general dating rules changed, especially now in 2025? Who pays? Who texts first? Are those even questions anymore?
There's still questions people ask, definitely. But the answers are way less about old traditions now and much more about clear communication and, frankly, equality. That old idea that the man must pay or the woman must wait to be texted, largely gone, thankfully. Splitting the bill is common, signals independence. The initiator might offer, sure, but it's about generosity, not a rule. And texting first, not gendered at all anymore. In fact, waiting ages to text often just reads as lack of interest now. If you like them, text them. It's about shared effort now, initiating, being vulnerable, communicating from both sides. And this leads right into all the new, sometimes confusing dating terms we hear, right? The talking stage, situationships, all that blurry stuff, these vague terms, they actually make first dates matter more, I think. The talking stage can feel like this endless limbo, emotional investment via text without any real clarity. It causes so much burnout. So a real, actual first date where you set aside time, meet in person becomes this important marker of actual intent in a sea of vague digital chat. It's a chance to actually gauge the real energy, the potential. It doesn't have to be instantly serious, but it should be intentional. Which brings us straight to dating app fatigue. So many people feel burnt out from the swiping, the matching, the ghosting. It's real. The endless cycle, the disappointment, it takes a toll, creates cynicism. And that's exactly why actual in-person dates feel so valuable again. A good first date cuts through the curated profiles, the online performance. It brings back the power of just being face-to-face, reading expressions, feeling energy, experiencing someone's unfiltered humanity. If two people show up to that first date present, open, curious, authentic, they're already way ahead. Because honestly, in today's filtered world, authenticity is the rarest, most valuable thing. It's what people are actually craving.
Authenticity is the rarest currency. Yeah, that really hits home.
Yeah.
Powerful. Okay, just to cover all bases, let's hit some rapid-fire FAQs people always wonder about. What should you absolutely, positively never say on a first date? The big no-nos.
Okay, definite no-goes. 1, deep trauma dumping. Vulnerability is good, but a first date isn't the place for your heaviest baggage too soon. 2, non-start complaining about your job, your boss, your ex, just signals negativity and unresolved stuff. 3, laying out all your relationship expectations right away. Talking marriage or moving in before the appetizers arrive. Way too much pressure. Keep it light, keep it curious, create safety and positivity, not an emotional obstacle course.
Makes sense. Keep it light. What if they're late? Or cancel last minute? How do you handle that gracefully?
First time, give some grace. Things happen. But pay huge attention to how they communicate it. A quick, clear, apologetic message, maybe suggesting a reschedule, shows respect for your time. Good sign. Silence, vague excuses, no real apology. That tells you a lot about their respect level, their reliability. That's data, important data.
Okay, and the big fairy tale question. Can you actually fall in love on a first date? Like in the movies?
Well, it's super rare. But can you feel intense, immediate chemistry? Absolutely. That spark, that wow feeling, it happens. But it's really crucial not to confuse that initial dopamine hit, that infatuation, with deep compatibility or real love, true, lasting connection. That needs time. Shared experiences, trust, understanding each other's quirks. Those early butterflies are amazing, but real love takes more than one evening to build. Needs substance.
Good reality check. Lastly, the big debate. Dating apps. Ruining dating or helping it?
They're tools, just tools. They give you access to more people, which can be great. But they don't create connection magically. Whether they help or hurt your dating life, it depends entirely on how you use them, your intention, your approach. If you treat people like people, use apps to bridge to real-life connection. They can be incredibly helpful, but they'll never replace you being present, authentic, emotionally intelligent when you actually meet someone. That part's still all on you.
Right. Okay, so we made it through the date, the psychology, the modern stuff. What about after? That slightly awkward what now phase. The follow-up text. Do you text first? What do you say? Don't want to seem too keen. Or do you?
Short answer, yes. Go ahead. Text first if you had a good time and felt something. Please, let's kill the wait 3 days rule. It's outdated, confusing, and honestly, a bit manipulative. Genuine interest is way more attractive than playing games, always. A simple, kind, direct text is perfect. Something like, hey, really enjoyed meeting you tonight. You're great to talk to, and I'd love to do it again sometime. It's clear, honest, shows interest without being pushy. Seriously, in 2025, waiting ages to text isn't cool. It just makes people think you aren't interested. Or you're playing games. Authenticity beats games every single time. Shows confidence, maturity, sets a good tone.
Okay, but what if?
Yeah.
What if there was no spark? You had an okay time, maybe, but you just know it's not going anywhere. How do you say no thanks to a second date politely? Without ghosting, without being harsh? That's tough.
It is tough, but so important for kind dating. Ghosting sucks for the other person, leaves them confused, hurt. Best way, be kind, but clear and direct. Treat them how you'd want to be treated. If you didn't feel it, try something respectful like, thanks again for meeting up tonight. I enjoyed chatting, but I didn't quite feel the romantic connection I'm looking for. Wishing you the best. It's polite, honest without being overly critical, and gives closure. Everyone keeps their dignity, allows both to move on cleanly.
That's a really good script. Compassionate but clear. Okay, last one. If the vibes were good, you definitely want date number 2. When and how do you ask?
If it felt mutual, definitely positive. Ask within 24 to 48 hours. Strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. Don't overthink planning the whole next date right then. Just show initiative and enthusiasm. And crucially, leave the ball in their court regarding timing. Respect their schedule. So maybe reference something you talked about. Loved hearing about your Thailand trip. Would love to continue the conversation over drinks sometime next week. Let me know what works for you. Specific enough to show you listened, but flexible on timing. Confident, yet considerate. That's a great approach.
Okay, wow. This has been such a fantastic deep dive. So many good insights, practical tips, mindset shifts. So if we boil it all down, the essence of a great first date, it's really about showing up curious, not judgmental.
Right.
Listening more than you're planning your next move. Letting things just happen naturally, not trying to force it.
Exactly. You don't need perfection. You don't need the perfect line or the perfect outfit. What you need is presence, real engagement, kindness. Those are the things that actually build connection. Just being truly there, authentically with another person. Sharing that space, that energy.
And here's a final thought for you, our listener. Even if a first date doesn't lead anywhere, just the act of practicing showing up authentically, being present, real, maybe a little vulnerable, that's powerful in itself. Especially today, in a world full of filters and flakiness, just being real, that's a power move. It sets you apart. It builds confidence. So remember, first dates don't need to be perfect. They just need to be real. If this deep dive gave you value, share it with someone you care about, hit subscribe, and please leave a review.